With this, we close the conversation about brand elements. Please take all this in consideration when you are thinking about the brand elements for your brand. Now, let's talk a little bit about what are the marketing programs we are going to create to convey my positioning, my brand identity, my personality, using the brand elements to the customer. Okay? So, one thing, I don't know how to emphasize this enough. Everything is connected. One of the key issues we have in our companies is because organizationally we have to separate the part. Even within the marketing team, you have the people that create the product. Then you have the people that manage the brand. Then you have the group that manages, I don't know, the digital channels. Yeah? And very often they don't talk with each other. And you end up seeing things that are not connected. But for the customer sees everything that is produced by all these different groups as one thing. Yeah? All the marketing programs are sending a message to the customer. If these groups that are creating this are not coordinating to every different thing that they do to send the same message, that overlap between brand identity and brand image will not happen. Okay? So it has a organizational responsibility here of the leader, the marketing manager, to make sure that this is because everything is connected. All the marketing activities, the product, the pricing, the distribution channels, how you distribute will influence. If you distribute at if you distribute through a discount store, it impacts the image of your product. If you have lower than anybody else pricing and you are aiming to have a premium brand image, that won't happen. So everything is connected. Okay, so how do you make sure that your marketing programs are aligned? Yeah, you have to purposefully create everything that is around the customer, having your positioning and personality or brand identity in mind. So here are some examples of these marketing programs. So the pre-purchase experience, your website, your advertising, your collaterals, yeah, your materials, then the purchase experience, your product itself, yeah, is the product and is the service really delivering the point of difference that you are communicating? Is it? So we are the best service insurance. I look at my NPS and it's the lowest. It's not delivering. And this is a very common word I use in my day-to-day. We are not delivering the promise. We are not delivering the promise. Yeah? Because it's not easy. Yeah? So point of purchase, again, how I communicate, the performance, post-purchase experience, the service, the billing. So how easy it is for the customer to pay. Your loyalty programs is a tremendous driver of your brand. Imagine all these airlines, their points program, how if it doesn't work, how much this will impact directly the image of your brand. And there are many that do not work, the quality of your product. So all these that we call the customer touch point the moments of truth, the moments or micro moments of truth that the customer comes in contact with your brand, they have to send the same message. It's not easy. I am still to see companies that do well. I mean, I think Amazon does that very well. But it's not easy. But at least you should know that this is the aim of a good marketeer. And your brand will be the success of your brand will be proportionate on your success of making sure that every single customer touch point is sending the same message. Okay, so that's what we are going to do here. Yeah, we are going to look at the 4 P's, the P's, no, of marketing, but I'm not going into any detail because you obviously have already had this class. The only thing we wanted to do here is to make sure that you will look into your product, your price, your distribution, your communication strategy and say, okay, this is fulfilling, this is aligned with my positioning. Okay, so product strat, and this is part of your brand strategy plan part 2. Okay, so the product and its perceived quality are primary influence on how customers experience the brand. Think about Godiva. Yeah, it could have all the beautiful elements, but if the quality, which is the great point of difference, the quality, the upmarket quality of the chocolate was not there, yeah, then your brand is, you have a reputational risk for your brand if your product is no longer delivering what it's saying. So the performance of the product, the quality, yeah, and the after marketing activities that are connected with the product, the servicing, yeah, the customer service, the materials, the loyalty programs, all this needs to be associated. And here you have an example of how you could analyze your product to make sure that it is aligned. It starts by looking, what is my core product, for example, doing the core benefit, relief from hunger. The basic product I'm using here is chips, the category. What is the expected product? You saw this when you had the P's in marketing. Good quality, I want flavors, the potential product variation, here is my product. So you have to look into your product or service from all the dimensions and make sure that in all the dimensions it's aligned with what your positioning is. Okay, channel, one of the most important marketing piece to influence positioning. Okay, the manner by which your product is sold, this or distributed, has a profound impact on your brand equity. So channel, and when you are looking at this, what does it include? Channel strategy includes the development and management of your intermediaries, your brokers, your wholesalers, how, or whatever is the medium or the mediums that you sell your product. Okay, so what are the brands? Just so you understand the brand equity implications. So there are many different types of distribution models that you will have to define for your brand, okay? So there are the direct channels. Direct channels, if you choose direct channels, they drive engagement with the brand. Because when you go for an indirect channel, you are further from your customer, okay? So examples of direct channels that drive that engagement. Company-owned stores, okay? And that is a great example. Think about, why do you think Apple invests in the stores? Do you think they look as the stores as generators of revenue? No, the stores are doing exactly that. They are elements of the brand. They are carriers of the brand, driving engagement with their customers. So many companies now that were born online are now creating stores. Example, last night I have found of a store called called Soft Surroundings. Lovely catalog, I've been client for ages. Suddenly they opened up a store. I was so glad. The store has this same beautiful personality, and so now I go to the stores just to go to the store because I do all my shopping in the catalog. So it carries their brand, it strengthens their brand. So it has a function, a brand function. Pop-up stores in the shopping malls, yeah. Store within the store, like the stores they have in the Bloomingdale's or Macy's, yeah. The branded Usually luxury brands have that stores, catalog website. Now, indirect channels drive reach. So why do we choose, for example, why us, insurance companies and credit card companies, distribute their products through banks? Yeah, because of reach, because they give you all those channels of distribution. Yeah, it puts you further, much further from the customer, but gives you scale. Yeah, so that's what helps you push and pull strategies for communication. You have to support these distributors to make sure they are using your brand properly. Actually, that was a job I had for American Express, to do only that. Make sure they are selling your product to the right target group. Yeah, and do advertising cooperatively. And now, of course, there is this integration online offline strategies, which I just gave the example with the website, the soft surrounding, that they are online, but they have the offline, the stores, to drive the engagement with the customer. So when you, and please go into the video so you can see an example exactly of that, of a brand doing exactly that integration. So when you are looking on how you're going to distribute your product, please have this in mind. How my choice of channels will reflect my product positioning and personality. Okay? And here is a great example of how that happens. Okay? And this is in your textbook. And it actually shows how the discount stores, the type of distribution channels are chosen by different brands depending on their depending on their profile, their positioning. So Calvin Klein collection is sold at their own stores, while Calvin Klein, simple Calvin Klein, is sold at Premier department stores, while another brand of the company, Arrow, is going on discount stores. And you can see how the price range varies. And it's all related to how you wanted to position your brand, okay? As a premium brand or as a discount brand, okay? And here, and now this is just to illustrate that in the past, we had the customer used very linear channel, single channel. Here, the customer, I go to the store, buy. Then afterwards, there was multi-channel approach. There are a type of customers that buy online, a type of customers that buy only in the store, etc. Now, the experience is what we call the omni-channel. The customers will see your brand in the store, and they will go online and check what people, they see your brand on the store, the product on the store, for example, and then they go to their Facebook account or they go to Amazon to see the reviews, and then they go somewhere else to actually buy the product. So the channels are completely on the hands of the customer. The customer decides, so you have to be present across the board, and you have to be very clear how your customers are buying your product, okay? In the luxury industry, you can see that 70% of the sales are influenced by the online channel, but are bought offline, okay? So again, you need to understand the customer journey. Pricing strategy. Again, another important influencer. So, and the great example is Walmart. Walmart, their positioning is based on the pricing, on the value pricing, that they have the best value for money. Save money, live better. The right blend of product quality, costs. So that is the basis of Walmart positioning. So remember when we looked into the equity, and we had Godiva and the other brand that nobody knows, at least I don't know. And we identified that there was a $12 price premium, and that was the generator of the brand equity. So that is a pricing. That is a pricing, is how the products are priced. It has to do with the price strategy. So they are among the most important brand equity benefits of building a strong brand. To define properly your pricing and identify the elasticity. Okay, so you will have to make a choice of price strategy. What is the method you're going to use for setting price, and also for promotions? For example, very premium products like Centurion card, the Black Centurion, there are no promotions. You never give discount. Yeah, and the price is one if you want pick or leave, and it's by invitation only. Yeah, and all this is done to sustain the scarcity, the feeling of belonging to a club. Yeah, so you use the price for that. So in your brand strategy plan, I will ask you to, based on the positioning of your product, define your pricing strategy. Is that going to be a customer based on the customer perception? Okay, not in the cost of your product. So and this happens with premium products. How far can we go? In some products, the higher the price, the better the perception of the product. Like think about wine, how people buy wine based on which shelf they are. Yeah, so you choose, okay, if I want a mid-level wine, is from the mid shelf, is you, because people don't know the wine, so they look for the price. The price in wine is a direct correlation in the customer's mind with quality. Imagine. Yeah, and this in wine is an extreme example, but it happens across the board. Yeah, and it most of the time has nothing to do with the cost of the good. So what is the perception of value for your product? And how you're going to set your price so that it builds brand equity, so that you have a premium price. You can choose value pricing, which is the best, that is based on the customer perception. You have to think about how you're going to segment. Think about the example I just gave on the stores, and depending on the brand, you have a different segmentation of price. How you are going to communicate the value, or you can choose everyday low price, which is kind of Walmart. Okay, so that is one of the aspects you have to define for your product to make sure that it's aligned. Yeah, and here, in terms of if you choose value pricing, you will look at the product design, the product costs and prices to be aligned with that. Okay, so please take a look in your book, in your textbook, and read about the pricing, defining pricing to drive a brand equity. Yeah. Finally, another P today that is being more and more used is the personalization. Yeah, the new P in the market. How you personalize your product, how you make it only for you. Okay, and this is being driven essentially for the technology, because that enables companies to personalize in bulk, isn't that? So that's what's driving. And that is also driving the disintermediation. More and more, the companies are selling directly to the customer, which enables that customization, yeah? So this is just examples on something that for you to think about when you are creating your communication strategy, yeah? See what Coca-Cola did. And there are different types of marketing that you can do to drive that personalization. And here are some examples: experiential marketing, one-on-one marketing, permission marketing. Let's take a look at experiential marketing. Experiential market is what Starbucks does. Okay, they make sure they create, instead of they focus on the product, they create an experience for the customer, and wow experience. Yeah. Yeah, exactly the example. So they feel the aroma of the coffee. They are in an environment that reflects the positioning of the brand. Okay. And within the experiential marketing, you can choose exactly like Starbucks does, different senses, different, what are the senses am I going to appeal for the customer? Okay. How do I want the customer feel about my product? What do I want the customer to think about? How do I want my customer to act? Okay. And how I want the relationship with the brand to be. Okay. 101 marketing is consumers help to add value, provide information. So Hermes does that. So they have a direct channel to the customer who provides direct feedback on their experience with the brand. Okay. Loyalty programs is an example. Yeah? It's very specific 101 marketing. You have your category, and all that is offered to you in terms of differentiation is based on the category. Here are a few steps on how you do 101 marketing. I'm not going to go into details of this. And then you have permission marketing, which is old, is when you make sure when you send an email or you start a relationship with the customer, you ask the customer if they want to receive that. Okay, and if you go, you make it very easy for the customer to close that relationship. So here again, there are a few steps for you to follow, and this is an example of it. Okay, so with this, we conclude our week 3, and you have almost all the elements you need to create your brand strategy part 2. Okay, so please review the material, read in your book. I'm going to add a lot of supporting materials. I'm going to add to your Canvas Dropbox examples that I normally use in the face-to-face class of brand guidelines that I use in my day-to-day. So this that we are talking here is not academic, guys. We use this in our day-to-day. So I'm going to put the Bupa brand guidelines where you will see all how its positioning, what are the brand elements, how to use the brand elements. See? So you please look at our Dropbox in Canvas so that you can see additional materials to what is in this video that will support your understanding. So thank you very much. And I think we will be talking as you develop your brand strategy plan. I'm looking so forward to see what you are going to present. Thank you.